Yeah, you brought up a couple really interesting points that I'd like to dive
Sure.
into a little bit deeper. So, one, in terms of redemption or getting that second chance, and then you combine that with COVID in 2020. So,
Mhm.
mixed with the fact that I think that one of the areas in this region that we really have to change the mindset with is accepting failure and giving people that second chance and supporting them. I mean, if you're failing, then you're not trying.
Right.
So now we're in a situation here where we have a region that isn't so kind to people that have failed. In the year 2020, where businesses have been forced to close their doors because of COVID, how would you suggest or recommend that we take advantage of this opportunity, make it a positive, so that when people go back into business, start with a new idea, changing the culture and supporting those people when they take another bite at the apple, so to speak.
Well, let me tell you what the data says, all right?
Mm-hmm.
I can quote data. There was a survey that was done across the state of Texas over 20 years. 2.5 million businesses were uh, assessed, tracked over a period of time. And um, so they tracked the failures there, and 71% of the people who failed never tried again. Of the people who tried again, they were more successful the second time. And if they tried a third time, they were even more successful. So this changed my thinking, Tim, in a couple of ways. Number one, we do talk about failure as part of entrepreneurship. You're going to fail. I mean, I show my students stories all the time of people who fail, not just the Edison stories, but um, I think the chef, I can't remember his name, and a number of people who have, started a business and they failed. And you show them that to encourage them. But it also changed my thinking because, again, we have this 71% of people who failed, never tried again. And on the one hand, we need to encourage people to try again, but on the other hand, we need to help people with closure. Okay, that sucks. It sucks to fail. And some people will carry that with them and they will shy away from that. So I agree with you that there needs to be this idea that, and not blaming, not saying, well, it's COVID's fault or this, we failed. Let's do a hot wash, they say in the military, right? Let's look at what happened. If we were to try again, what might we do differently? Use it as a quality experience. We're not going to blame someone. We're not going to get down on ourselves. I failed. I was a church planter. I planted a couple churches, and that's what I wanted to do in my whole life. I got saved when I was in college, and then I'm going to be in the ministry, professional ministry, and I'm going to plant this church. And I'm 3 years into this first plant. My wife comes to me and says, I don't know about you, but I hate this. I hate this, and I'm leaving. All right. Well, I guess that's not really something I want to keep doing, right? So you have to say, okay, well, what are my priorities here? What's important? And you overcome that. You still have that kind of pain there because you think, boy, what happened? What could have happened? I was fortunate that 25 years later, I was able to go back. Actually, on the 25th anniversary of the church, I was able to go back. It's still there. It took off. But examining failure as part of loss, but maybe. I know this is not, like an AA meeting or something like that. I was a business owner and I failed. Okay, well, we appreciate that you tried, and we value your contribution. What you
Exactly.
did, you affected lives, and whether you continue to do that or not, that's valuable. And I want you to
Mm-hmm.
talk to my students. Let them come and talk to my students, because failure is part of the experience. However, we also, if you still got that thing burning inside of you, maybe there's something you can do with that. It just didn't fit there, right? It fit here. So what I don't think I'm a different person. I've learned a lot since then, and I can use my experiences here. So how can we take that and turn it into a positive? And then also, how can we take those people who are struggling, who hit that wall, and encourage them? Hey, let's reboot. Let's try
Right.
something. What was it about that took you down that path? I know a guy, construction guy, part of our group. He failed big time and bankruptcy and couldn't get his license back. And through restoration, redemption, working with other people, he's back on top. He's building big houses again. Realized the only way I'm going to be successful is I got to go visit those demons. I got to pay that money back.
Right.
You know what? He's paying the money back.
That's great.
So that's a hard thing. We have to be honest about it. And I mean, I'm not answering your question. I'm just basically saying, yeah, it's a problem. Yeah. But if the culture embraces innovation, part of an innovative culture is trying things that don't work, and saying, wow, hey, now we know what not to do. Let's learn what may work,
Yeah, and one thing that's really interesting, so I've been fortunate enough, I'm dipping my toe in the angel investing world, and so I'm connected with Jason Calacanis. He was the third person to invest in Uber, and he's also an angel investor in Robinhood and the meditation app Calm, to name a couple. So he's extremely successful. And one of the things that's really that I love what he does is that he understands that failure is a part of this. And if a company that he invests in fails, he just has one stipulation, and that is, if you start another business, I want to be the first person that you call so that I have the opportunity to invest in you. That is something that needs to be carried and echoed throughout the entire community.
Yeah, and let's settle up. Let's settle up with those folks who believed in us. And so we know that some loss is going to come, but let's settle up. Let's sit down. There's that restorative justice type thing that happens. It's painful. I'd rather run away from it. I'd rather deny it. Hey, look, I screwed up and it didn't work, and you believed in me, and I want you to still believe in me. So this guy apparently has, he believes in people when he invests. But let me also be honest, and let me try and repay my debt and get those things reconciled, because then that'll, I think, help with settling it and resolving that. Okay, so we made mistakes, but we got through it. We're clean. Now we go on something new.
Yeah.
The Fervent Four is powered by the Small Business Development Center, which helps local small businesses grow through counseling. If you're interested in learning more on how the SBDC can help your business, head to startwheel.org/weekly.
That was a powerful comment, though. Like that, if you are someone, let's just think about this. I just ran a commercial for the first time that we had done, right? It might have failed. It might not have gone great, but I was going to try it again, right? Who knows what's going to happen? I tested it before. I think it's going to work, but I've never really done it. So you don't know. There's that unknown. But that was a powerful point. I mean, from the Jason Calacanis point, where if you fail, I want you to call me first. I mean, that's that. Like, I've always thought that people invest in people, not necessarily the idea. And I think that's what it's really going after. And it's like, we probably taught you something in this whole thing. You probably learned something through this whole experience. Why would I give on you now? Right. And so that was interesting. And actually a great story out of this is Tim got Jason Calacanis to come to our area for Start Peninsula a few years ago. And I remember Tim telling me it took like 2 years to get him here, basically. And it was something that most people probably would have thrown in the towel on. Most people probably would have quit on and saying, we're not going to get him here. We're not going to get him here. And he was persistent and went through it. And so those are all just so powerful points